Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we're going to be looking at the Sherman variants, the tier 6 ones, the M4A3E8, the Easy 8, and the M4A3E2, the Sherman Jumbo. Now these are basically the same tank but different variants, and they fulfill very different roles on the battlefield. So we'll have a little talk about the Easy 8 first, and then we'll go on to the Jumbo. And I want to try and keep it a little, this could end up a long review, but I'll keep it as short as I can with including all the information that I possibly can. Right, so the Easy 8, you've got 64mm of armour on the front, 38 on the sides and rear, 76 on the upgraded turret on the front, 51 side and rear. Good speed limit, 48 kilometers an hour, not the fastest, but definitely not the slowest. Decent traverse at 40 and good turret traverse at 39, 370 meter view range. Now the Sherman Jumbo, and this is why I'm doing it this way, because it's makes it a bit more concise, and then we'll go and have a look at the actual armour models. So 35 km an hour speed limit, a bit slower, same with the traverse and the whole traverse, 32 and 32, but a lot more armoured, 102 on the front, 76 on the side, 38 on the rear, and the turret I have on it in the minute is 152 all round, but we'll talk about those shortly. 730 hit points versus 750, but that's probably because of the turret that I have on mine. Right, let's get a little bit more into the packages, because obviously it's not just the upgraded package like it is with the premium. You have a lot more to deal with. So you start off with, unfortunately, the M3 gun, but you've obviously been through the Sherman, so you should have at least the howitzer, and possibly, you should have the M1A1 unlocked. I'm pretty sure that you should have that engine unlocked as well, but I can't quite remember. So you might be able to just jump in it and stick the first upgrade on it and basically get up to the 76mm M1A1. The howitzer I would recommend on the M4 because it's damn good fun. On the Easy 8 maybe, but you'd probably have to use a lot of heat rounds and it'd get very expensive. You then fully upgrade and get your engine power up, because at first it is a bit sluggish, it does feel sluggish, but then you get a 520 horsepower engine, some better tracks, and it makes a hell of a difference. So the M1A1, 14 rounds a minute, 128, 115, 2.3 second aiming time, 0.43 accuracy, 177 on your premiums. You've been through the M4, you will know this gun. You know how it handles, you know its rate of fire. Get it fully upgraded, you get a different turret, because originally you have 64 all round. 38 traverse, 330 view range. It then goes up to 39 traverse, 370 view range, 76 on the front, 51 on the sides and rear, and that 76 gun mantle is very good for working ridge lines, keeping the angle, and it can be a little bit trolly. Don't rely on it, it's better not to get it in the first place, but yeah, you can be a bit trolly with that. You then upgrade to the 76mm M4A2, still 128, 115 damage, 177 and 115 for your premium rounds, 2.3 aiming time, 0.40 on the accuracy, but your rate of fire goes up to 18.18 rounds a minute, which is really quite good, and you can put a lot of lead down range and really keep the pressure on if you need to. But again, it's a low alpha, high DPM gun, so you've got to keep it firing, so I would recommend it using the ridge lines. You can also circle some of the slower tanks, like you can in a lot of the fast mediums, but again, make sure that they are on their own and that you've got a bit of room around them. But this one, it's a fast flanking medium. You've not particularly got the armour, but you can bounce the odd lucky shot. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Cromwell. Not as fast, but it's that sort of gameplay. Fast flanking medium, you work the ridge lines, you move in on lone damaged, bigger, slower tanks, and you basically circle them. Equipment wise, I'd probably say, I think you can fit a vertical stabiliser on it. I've not got any on mine at the minute, actually. It's a bit naughty of me. You can, so between that or a gun lane drive, maybe vents and a medium caliber tank gun rammer to get that rate of fire up even more. That's possibly my recommendation. Or maybe leave the gun rammer and put optics on it to increase your view range, because you have got a good rate of fire as it is. Skills, standard light tank skills really. Train up camo, put 6th sense on it. Train up camo again. maybe clutch braking or off-road driving to improve your manoeuvrability. But yeah, I think, yeah, stuff like that really. Repairs can always be useful. You know, if you get your tracks knocked off, the faster you get them back up in any tank, not just heavies, the better. In fact, even more so in mediums where you've not got the armour to take the hit. So we'll have a quick look at the Sherman Jumbo now, and again, a very different animal. Slower, not as manoeuvrable, but vastly more armoured. The 102 on the front, well, it's not just the upper plate. Well, the upper plate I think is 102, but that round bit at the bottom is a lot thicker, as we'll have a look at shortly. But we'll just go over the guns, because there is a bit more to this. Right, again, start off with the Sherman, with the M3 Lee gun, which is awful. But again, you should have the howitzer which you can stick on it, and you should possibly have that engine. I'll have to check that in a minute. And also there's the M1A1, but that does reduce the turret armour down to 64 all round, and this is where personal preference comes into it. You can either move on to the M1A2 and keep the weaker turret, which for me is frustrating, having a really strong hull and a weak turret, but you get the 18 rounds a minute. It's basically exactly the same as it is on the Easy 8, but obviously your traverse speed is only 32 for your hull, and your turret traverse goes up to 39. Your view range is 370 again. Now, the way that I prefer to use it, and this is my personal preference, I prefer to stick with the M1A1 and sacrifice some of the gun handling and the rate of fire for a massive increase in armour. Instead of 64, you've got 152 mil of armour all around your turret, which makes working ridgelines really good, because your turret is very bouncy, especially when you're a top tier. But you do lose some of the turret traverse, it goes down to 32, and you do lose view range, so there is a trade-off for that armour. So again, it is down to personal preference. You could also stick with that turret and stick the howitzer on it. You would have to fire a few heat rounds here and there, but you can use it as almost like a pseudo heavy, because of its armour and because of the howitzer. But again, you probably would have to fire a few heat rounds, and that can become quite expensive. So let's have a look at the modules. Oh, equipment. Again, gun lane drive. If you're using the M1A1, I would say definitely a gun rammer, and probably vents again, just to improve all of those. But again, there is the argument for the optics if you're using the thicker turret with the lower view range, just so that you're not blind as a bat. Right, modules. Well, like I say, we have a 520 horsepower engine, which gives it a power to weight ratio of 17.42, which is pretty good. It's not slow, it is quite nippy. 48 forwards, 18 in reverse. Engine just at the back there, you can see it. Although I think I've had my engine damaged through the front somehow in one of these. I might be wrong though. Anyway, gun doesn't go far back into the turret, so again, if you're wanting to knock the gun out, probably hit the barrel itself. Tracks, don't seem to be any gaps in the tracks, so they can be quite tricky to get through at times. Turret on top. Radio just in that bump on the back, which is the usual place. Now, ammunition on this one, as you can see, is just under the turret, and it's more or less where the back of the tank gets that bit of a slope on it at the back from the edge, from the side, sorry. So that's where your ammo is in the Easy 8, and it is somewhere different in the Jumbo, I think. Crewmen, one in each side at the front, so you hit the middle, you're going to miss the crew, and then you've got 3 crammed into that turret up there. Commander under the cupola, gunner and loader. Armour wise, well, 1 to 20 is basically the top, the engine deck, and the tracks, which we're used to now. The tops, the sort of top decks and the tops of the turrets on these tanks are normally the weakest point on any of the vehicles. 21 to 30 is the top of the turret. 31 to 50, well, that's down the side. I think I said it was at 38, and the rear as well. But you've got your tracks down there, and you've got a bit of a thicker block, although no, it's not a thicker block, it just sticks out that little bit. 51 to 70, which is your upper plate, sides of the turret, and also the rear of the turret, and that commander's cupola on top. That is something you have to watch out for, but when you work in ridgeline using the good gun depression on these two tanks, the commander's cupola does become hard to hit. Now 71 to 90, 76 mil. It states on the basic stats is your gun mantle and the front of your turret. And then a bit of a nice surprise, that bit down at the front is actually a lot thicker. So don't worry too much if you expose a bit too much of that going over a ridgeline. It's actually the thickest part on your tank. So there you go, that's the Easy 8. And now I'll have a quick look at the Jumbo. Remember, I'm on a 15-minute time limit here without some dodgy editing. Hopefully I'm going to make it. Right, reload time. Oh, I did forget to mention that on the Easy 8 will be better than the Jumbo because I've got the M1A1, but on here it's 4.2 seconds. Concealment not too bad at 0.2 on the move and 0.15 station. Sorry, 0.15 on the move, 0.2 stationary. Right, horsepower 520 again, but it reduces the power to weight ratio to 15.46, which again is not too bad. It's not much lower, and it's not, you know, it's not heavy sort of sluggishness. This lower top speed of 35 and a lower reverse speed of 15, and the engine takes up a lot more space in the Jumbo. As you can see, it's more or less the back, I'd say third to half of the tank. The gun again doesn't go particularly far back into the turret. Tracks, doesn't seem to be any gaps in them again, so they can be sometimes tricky to get through and a bit trollish. Turret, we all know where that is. Radio in the bump at the back. Now this is where the ammunition is in a different place. You can see it takes up almost the whole space of the side of the tank underneath the turret. You've also got that block just down in the middle where if you can get through the tracks, and then you've got a smaller block towards the front of the turret in the side of the tank on the other side of the ammunition. So learn where the ammo differences are on these two tanks as well. Crewmen, they are sat in exactly the same place. Armour wise, again 1 to 20, engine deck, tracks. 21 to 30, again the top of the turret, no matter which turret you've got on it, whether it's the tough one or the other one. Now 31 to 50, which is the hull behind your tracks and the rear of the tank, and just those slightly sloped bits on top and the front part of your top deck. Your 71 to 90, I think it said it was 76 down the sides. Well, that is just those upper bits above the tracks, so not below, but then again they have to get through the tracks if they go below it, so just do be aware of that though. 91 to 120, well that's your upper plate, your thicker upper plate, which is 102 I think are the basic figures, and just the edges of your gun mantle there on, remember this is the thicker turret, the one with the lower view range and traverse. And then again 152, which is your turret all round, and same story as the Easy 8, you have that thicker bit at the front, so it gives you a bit more of an option and a bit more leeway when you're working those ridge lines and bumps, especially if you're just trying to accentuate the angle of the front of your tank by using a small lump in the ground. And then the thickest part of the tank, which is your gun mantle, and just that little bit there. So again, your sort of lower plate bit, and I have had a lot of people that try and shoot that thinking it's a bit like a lower plate, lower glacis, and it just bounces off most of the time, so it's quite funny when that happens, but not so much when I do it. I have been guilty of doing it myself as well, although I try not to do it anymore. Now I feel like I've rushed this slightly. Crew skills with this, again, it's sort of a mix of medium and heavy, so you want sixth sense first, then repairs. The crew that I've put in it, I basically put them in it for the purposes of getting the footage and doing the review, but I would say sixth sense is probably always going to be the first one, but you want to train up one of your perks first, sorry, skills, is it, whichever one. Get them confused. Not the lightning strikes, they're only effective when they're at 100%. It's the other one, and I can never remember which way around it is. So you train up camouflage or repairs, swap it for sixth sense, train it up again. But repairs, I'd say, are more important on this one than they are on the Easy 8. Oh, wrong button. Let's just go back to the Easy 8, have a quick look at concealment. It's a little better than the Jumbo, 0.22 while stationary and 0.16 while on the move, and yet 3.3 second aiming time, which is really quite good with that M4A3E2. Now, I think that has about covered it. Ammo costs, there we go, nearly forgot. Right, this is the M4A3E2, 96 for your standard, 2,800 for your APCR, 68 for your high explosive. And on the Jumbo, I would imagine they're the same price with the M4A2, but with the M4A1, 96, 286, yeah, same price. Basically, same price, same caliber gun. It kind of makes sense. Now, gameplay tips. I'll try and give you some of those when I'm actually going through the replays. Both of these obviously play up to tier 8 with them being Tech Tree tanks. I just missed the 15 minutes. That's rambling on. I think I've covered everything. Again, after a bit more dodgy editing, let's get into some gameplay and see how these two actually handle and how they differ on the battlefield. Right, so here we are for the first of the matches, and this is in the Sherman Jumbo, and not the best match, this one, but it was best of the ones I could get. Actually, when I went to edit this together, I wasn't quite happy with this one, and I did spend a few matches just trying to get something decent in it, or at least better than this, and I ran out of time. I had to get this edited together and start to get it uploaded, so here we are anyway. Tier 7 match, Westfield Range standard battle, and while I'm climbing up this hill, what do you guys think of the new intro? When I recorded the garage bit, I didn't know I was going to do it. I just decided to do it after I'd recorded the garage bit, and it's basically something for the month while the monster tanks are on, and then I'll probably work on a different one after they've gone off. But I don't know. I think it might be a bit too long, possibly. I don't know what you guys think. So let me know. Is it too long, or is it all right, or what have you? Anyway. Also, I was going to work on a competition for either 100 or 250 subscribers, but I'm now approaching 450 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm just trying to figure out, I think I know what I'm going to run as the competition, sort of what it's going to be, but I'm just trying to figure out how to distribute sort of prizes. I was going to basically give away, because you can't go onto the store for the console version of World of Tanks like you can with the PC and gift tanks or gold to people, to other players. There isn't that option yet. Hopefully there will be soon. So I was going to do something like maybe PlayStation Network credit and Xbox Live Network credit, something like that. But then I've run into a snag that any that I buy in the UK will not work in the US. I don't think they'll work in Australia. They should work in Europe, but I'd like to try and include as many people as I can in this. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to either get network credits that'll work in the US, or something else that I thought of instead of network credit for now is possibly something like some World of Tanks merchandise from the World of Tanks or the Wargaming store, something like that. So when I've figured it out, I will be running a subscriber competition, but I'm just, like I say, trying to figure out the logistics of the prizes. So hopefully I should have it figured out by the end of the month, and then we can get that up and running. Anyway, I managed to take out that M4 there. As you can see, I've come up to the northwestern corner because, well, like, you know, you want to use the ridges as best you can, and it's one of the best places on the map, and there's normally quite a strong push from the enemy team up this way. I'll just pull back over the ridge, trying to expose as little as I can of the tank. Putting shots at that Tiger. The KB-13 actually bounces. Managed to get a couple of shots in into him as he's backing off. Now, if I want to get that Tiger now, I'm going to have to go right up over that ridge. So I'm just trying to find a shallower bit. But the KB-13 looks like he's coming back, so I'll have to be careful of him. That's a dodgy shot. No, it just went over. There's the KB-13's turret. Bounced off its off the back of it. They're going through. I'm just using this this hill to hide as much of the tank as I can, and anything they can see, the angle's increased as well. But even in a tier 7 match, as long as you're not silly with it and you know you're at medium range, or you are using a hill or something like that to increase that angle of the upper plate, you don't have, well, I'd say you don't have to be too afraid. You can afford to be a bit more aggressive in the Sherman Jumbo because it has got that really strong upper plate. You have to be careful of things like Tigers. You know, if they've got the long 88 with 203mm penetration, the front plate isn't really going to stop that. But as you can see there, That VK3601 had the short 88 with I think 132mm of pen, and he bounced off the upper plate. The only thing you do have to be a little wary of is getting too close to things that have got a bit of gun depression on them, because if they're taller than you and they're aiming down at your upper plate, it does reduce the angle and obviously reduce the thickness as well, or the effective thickness, should I say. Now, I'm not over farming a bit of damage on this Cromwell in the cap circle. There wasn't really much else left, and whatever was left was being dealt with, so I might as well get that extra bit of damage out of it. Alright, finish that 1500 XP, 1596 damage, which isn't too bad. It's 115 average damage per shot, and I came third in a tier 7 match. So again, not too bad, but not the best one. Didn't block loads of damage, but then again, didn't get shot particularly much. 2 hits connected, both were blocked. So that gives you an idea of the armour of this, especially when you're top tier, like I say. Right, second of the jumbo ones, and I've got a distinct feeling of deja vu. I think we've been here before. Westfield in the rain, but this time it is a team destruction, not a standard battle, and this time it's a tier 6 match. So fingers crossed, I might do a little bit better. I am platooned up with my wife. She's in her M6, and she's wanting to grind through the M6 to get to the T29. I think she had it fully upgraded in this match, but I can't quite remember. So if she has, she'll be equipped with a 90mm. In fact, yep, she's just nodded at me. She was fully upgraded. It is the 90mm on the M6. So again, I'm going to move up to the northeast, because I can use these hills and ridges and basically just go hull down, sort of. Remember, I've got the thicker turret on with 152mm of armour all around. Ooh. Yeah, still want to back away from a KV2 though. Don't want to get hit by one of those. Definitely not. Because if he's firing, although that almost looks like he's using 85mm, I think it is, not the 152 howitzer. I do see a few people with that one. Can't understand it myself. Why have a KV2 without a 152mm howitzer on it? But there you go. Might be stock possibly, but I think you get it quite early on, unless it's completely stock. Anyway, took out the T67, I think it was. 3601H, just trying to poke over the ridge there, but I can snipe this commander's hatch. And there's another one over there, but I bounced on that one. And like I say in the garage, I personally prefer to use the M1 on this, because you do get the extra armor on the turret. That bloody great machine gun turret on the top of the SAU-40. That's a horrible weak spot on that tank. It's absolutely massive, and there is no way of hiding it. Now, I didn't think that I'd go through there because that's the gun mantle, so I'm going to go for the hatch again. No. And Artie seems to be paying a bit of attention here, and there's a Churchill YOLOing out in front of us all. Churchills are very tough, angled. Not angled so that they side onto you. 3601H is back, but at this angle I don't think I can get through that lower plate. See if we can get the driver's hatch from here. Probably the best chance. Yep, there we go. Straight through there, it's thinnest part on the front. But it is a nice tier 6 heavy, that one, the 3601H. Managed to get that one in the upper plate just as pulling back, and the Easy 8's back. And I track him on top of the hill, and somebody takes him out. Possibly the Stug. I think he's got the howitzer. I think he had the howitzer. Yeah, it looks like he did. And I didn't even see what that was then, I put a shell into. Yeah, Artie's definitely paying an interest. But It looks like our team's got this one in the bag. Don't want to speak too soon, but it's 12-6. So 3 tanks left. RT, tank destroyer in the town. I think I'm going to swing in to try and take him out. Oh no, I pulled to the side. And my wife finishes him off. That was it. And there you go, a bit more of an exciting match in the Jumbo. And again, it just gives you an indication of the armour. I mean, I only blocked 720, but down at that tier, when some of the guns shooting at you are only doing like 115, that's not too bad. Came out of it with a high caliber, second class mastery, and a sniper, and I came top, which is always nice. 7 hits received, 5 were non-penetration. So that's not a bad ratio. Right, so now we've got the 2 Easy 8 replays coming up for you. And that one, like I say, it is a bit different. You can still work the ridge lines with it, it's still really good at that. But you can't really afford to stay sat on the ridge line like you can in the Jumbo, I find. I find you better popping back and forth. But anyway, we're on Great Wall. It's tier 6 matchup again, which is nice matchmaking, and it's a standard battle. And straight away you can see the difference in speed and manoeuvrability of the Easy 8 over the Jumbo. In fact, there's a Jumbo, and even though we're both going downhill and he's got a bit more weight behind him, no problem overtaking him. And the real difference is when you're going uphill as well. This just feels a lot more nimble and manoeuvrable. So, not a bad spread actually, looking at the map. Quite often you find on Great Wall you'll get most of your team, if not sort of nearly all of it, going in a great lemming train down that western side, down the sort of 1-2 line, to that southwestern corner, and leave about 2 or 3 tanks to actually cover the entire village, both sides of the mountain over here in the valley, and it normally doesn't work out that well. But this isn't bad. So I'm going to climb up to the top of the hill, I'm going to peek over, and then one of my guys puts a shot into the back of my turret, so I'll look round to see who it is or what they're after. And then all of a sudden, a wild DLC comes over the ridge and slams into me. So I just start pushing him back up the hill. Luckily for me, he's got the, I think it's a 76mm, and he's just got no hope of getting through there. And then we have a T-3485, that bounces off the turret, I think that was, off the gun mantle again. Remember, on this one, on the top turret, it's 76. On what would be the equivalent of the top turret on the Jumbo, the one with the M4A3E8 gun, it's only 64mm, and that's all round. This one's 76 on the front, but a bit less on the side and the rear, I think. Right, that's him dealt with. So we've now got a T-34, and he's thinking he needs to get out of here, and a lucky shot from me sets him on fire, but somebody just finishes him off before he can burn to death. Right, top of the hill seems quite secure. Our guys seem to have got the corner and pushing round down on the southern side. Now, can I get some shots at the 3001H? Is he going to disappear? No. Managed to get one into his side. Now he's gone. Take a blind shot at where he may be, but I think he's possibly flicked off to one side. Now it looks like the enemy team haven't sent many tanks through this, through the valley with the village in it. I could be wrong, so I don't want to go blazing straight out at the bottom. Oh, back off so that there's only the Stug that can return fire. Yeah, I was expecting to take a hit there, but with me and the other guy behind me, we've got a really good rate of fire between us. Looks like he's got the M4A2. That's how you can tell the difference actually on the Sherman Jumbo, if it's the M4A2 or not. Sorry, that was quite good. I managed to blind shot and set him on fire, so that was quite lucky. yeah, with the Sherman Jumbo, the M1A1 doesn't have a muzzle brake on the end, whereas the M1A2 does have a muzzle brake on the end, just like I have on the end of this one. Now what that means is that if you come up against a Jumbo and you can't pen its hull for whatever reason, but it's got that muzzle brake on the end of the gun, go for the turret because it's the weakest part. If it doesn't have the muzzle brake, then it's got the 152mm turret, and you're best off trying to sort of hit the upper plate above the rounded bit on the front, where it's only 152mm, or flank it if you can. In fact, I'm not even sure if the machine gun port on the front of the Jumbo is a weak spot or not. But at least if you can tell the difference between them with the muzzle brake and without it, then you'll know whether to go for the turret or whether to try and flank it, or whether you might just have to switch and use some premium rounds, to be honest, sometimes. I try not to use premium if I can, but occasionally you just have to use it. But this has not been a bad game so far. Found artillery. We are slightly in the lead at 10-7. They could still pull it back. Take out artillery. But yeah, not a bad game so far. And then, out of nowhere, I have a massive rush of shit to the brain and YOLO out after the Churchill, not realising that there were two other tanks looking this way as well. My plan was to, go around the Churchill, and then I tried to keep going to get around the Jumbo, and that was pretty much it. And I actually quit out of that match in a little fit with myself for being so stupid. But anyway, here are the results. A high caliber and a first class mastery, 2,500 damage done, which I'm quite pleased with. Like I say, with a gun that does 115 average damage, that's not too shabby. But yeah, I did get quite cross with myself for that one. I don't even know why I did it. I think I was just feeling a bit, I don't know, I really don't. I can't explain it, and I've got no excuse. None at all. I deserved to be to have my tank killed at that point for doing something so silly. Anyway, got the next and the last replay coming up for you next. Right, so here we are on Thiepval Ridge. It's an assault. We're on defence, and it's a tier 6 match. I don't bring the team list up, and that's because my wife did it, and we were talking about it over the headset and talking about a plan of action at the beginning, which is why I sit here like a muppet for a few seconds before we actually start moving. Now, something I did nearly forget to mention as well. If I do see any of you in a match and you sort of ding my tank or something like that and I don't recognise your name, I'll apologise now. Please don't take it personally. I am absolutely rubbish with names. But if you do see me in a match and you want to stick with me or go whichever way I'm going, feel free. I'm always up for some good teamwork in World of Tanks. But yeah, don't take it personally if I don't recognise your name. I am absolutely terrible with names.
Enemies got us in their sights.
Right. So I'm going to move out. We're going to cover this flank, and it appears like we're covering this flank on our own. I managed to get behind a bit of hard cover. We've got a Hellcat on the ridge. Now put a lucky shot at him using auto aim, which was lucky because that never normally works for me. Put another blind shot to where he may have been, but nothing there. I've got to try and spot him. Oh, has anybody been on the new map yet? Heilbot. I've been on it once in the Type 95, I think it was, the Tier 4 Japanese heavy. Didn't see much of it, didn't get much of a chance to. Most of the fighting that I took part in happened sort of in one part of the map. The enemy made quite a big rush, and I got 5 kills, and then artillery balanced me, so that was quite unfortunate. But from what I saw of it, it looked quite nice. Right, I'm going to try and make a push round up on this hill and see if I can spot anything. And my wife, she's stopping behind, I think she's in the M6 again, yep she is, and she's going to try and cover me and try and shoot anything that I do spot. and then she's going to move up, I think, if I remember rightly. So nothing here. I must admit I was kind of expecting something. Right, whatever was up there, I think it was that gup, he's been dealt with. Oh, here they are, just on the other side of the hill. I was kind of expecting these guys to be further up. Right, so I'll try and take out the KV-1S. I took a bit of a nasty hit there. Put some shots into the SE-100, and you'll see I'm just going to bob back and forth. And I took a bounce on the turret there. That one went through though. I think that was the KV-1S. But the rate of fire is fantastic on this gun. I can just pop back and up, although I did take another hit there. And I'm just trying to figure if I can get 2 shots for his 1. I'm not entirely sure. There's something else shot at me then, I think. That's damaged his gun. Hopefully he's not going to be able to repair it. I could just hear it whistling over the top of me there. And see if I can just put one into his commander's hatch to finish him off. Come on, before he reloads. And I just managed to get the kill. But I lost a lot of health and I moved just in time there. Either that or he just missed, I don't know, but that was lucky. That could have been me rebalanced there and then. Right. The base kind of looks fairly secure. We've got a bit of a perimeter of tanks around it, sort of far out in a semicircle going around sort of E3, 4 and around that way. But they are spread out and it doesn't look like... Oh, they're moving to support each other now. Yeah, they are. So we'll swing round this way, try and take out RT, and then there's 2 mediums and a heavy left. There's 1 tank unaccounted for, I think. I think I can see 2 over there on the radar. There's the other RT. I've just got a shot at the upper superstructure. Oh, just missed, but I think it was my wife that finished him off. Right, 3 tanks remaining. I can see where 2 of them are on the map.
Focus attention here.
And I think I was saying I'm going to zip on ahead and see if I can spot or root out the other one. So I'm going to go down the side of the trenches because trying to go through the trenches is very, very slow. I do like Thiepval Ridge. In fact, I've just realised I've not been on it for probably getting on for a week. No, it can't be right. No, probably less than that, but at least about 4 days, I'd say. Couldn't quite get the shot on that guy there, so I'm going to try and work my way around, using these riverbeds so I can sneak up without being seen, because there's still 3 tanks left and only 1 on the map, so I don't want to go derping straight across open ground. Right, that's 2 accounted for. Oh no, 1's just popped off again and I didn't quite see where he was. Oh, there he is. Right, so that's 2 mediums, but there's still a heavy lurking about somewhere. So I don't want to get spotted just yet. Start putting some shots at the Easy 8. Very ill aimed, to be honest, but I managed to get just 1 in there. And I'm just waiting, hoping he's going to come around the corner there. But I think I'm going to have to move in a bit closer. I've got to be careful. If he's got the 90mm, I am a definite one-shot kill for him. So I'm going to stay as hull down as I can. No, it's taking a beating though. Hopefully I can get up and get some shots in without him paying much attention to me. and use this. Whoa. Nope. He's paying attention to me.
Dropping target.
No, I'm not going to move in. I know I might have saved Artie there, but
Penetration.
I probably wouldn't. He probably just would have spun round and killed me before I could have killed him and then killed Artie anyway. And I just managed to get the kill on him.
Loaded up.
And that gives me 3 kills.
We won.
So again, not a bad little match. And yeah, just shy of 2,000 XP. 1,500 damage there, but we did get a brothers in arms between us because we both got at least 3 kills. Well, I hope that's been of use to anybody who's not sure which of the Shermans to go for when they get to tier 6, and if anybody's got a Sherman and struggling with it, maybe that's given you a few tips on how to play it. Anyway, I'm going to be back tomorrow, which is unusual. I don't normally do one on a Saturday, but I am going to do one, and it's the T28 HTC, or the T28 Concept Tier 7 American Tank Destroyer. So I'll be doing a review of that one tomorrow for you. So until then, you take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.